Thought I didn't unmute my mic for a second. Oh, welcome to dboTV. This is episode 4. My name is Duncan, and it's been a little while since the last episode, I believe. 2 weeks, I think. Missed last week. I was still in Seattle, and I decided to just sort of hang out at a friend's house and have a good time there instead of trying to figure out how to broadcast an episode from Seattle. But anyway, got a nice quick show for you tonight. Gonna go over, let's see, we've got a mail sack to talk about, at least one breaking in article, Destiny drawing board talking about a sniper rifle, and then I'm bringing on a good friend, Claude Errera, to talk about PAX and the visit to Bungie that we got to do. So anyway, so let's get things started, shall we? Let's see. I think it's time for the credits. Alright. Again, welcome to dboTV. If you're watching this for the first time, this is a weekly show that I stream live on Twitch, and then later archive on YouTube and here on Twitch as well. I heartily encourage you, if you have a Twitch account, join the chat. It's over there somewhere. If you don't have a Twitch account, make one and then join the chat. It's pretty fun. I think a lot of people enjoy that aspect of this live show. It sort of differentiates it from just a YouTube video with static comments. But anyway, so let's get things started. Let's see. I am not set up on my... There we go. Whoa, that's not supposed to happen. That's better. Happens to me every time. Anyway, dboTV, this is of course a show dedicated to the community surrounding Destiny.Bungie.Org. I keep forgetting every episode to mention the actual URL of the site. I guess I sort of assume that everybody watching this knows about DBO, but, probably best not to assume. So anyway, Destiny.Bungie.Org, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is the Destiny drawing board that came out. This was about not quite 2 weeks ago, but it came out right before PAX, so I sort of missed it myself. I had to go back and read it. But the Destiny drawing board this time was about a sniper rifle called Closing Time. So it's I think it's the same sniper rifle that we saw in E3. If it's not, then it definitely looks similar. You can see that same netting there that that Joe Staten really seems to like. It's an exotic sniper rifle, of course. I guess all these Destiny drawing boards are going to focus on exotic weapons because the last two have also been exotic. I'm sort of curious. I want to see what a non-exotic weapon looks like, or what do you call those? But anyway, so Closing Time. We've got a quote here from Tom Doyle. He says, this weapon was owned by a group of survivalists operating on the new frontier. And just like the previous weapons we've talked about, this is one that you're going to find not inside the city on Earth, but somewhere out there, left behind by one of the remnants of the Golden Age. But anyway, so we've got some concept art here. It looks pretty cool. Like I said, a lot of that netting that Joe Staten likes. Looks like some tape on there as well, a wooden stock, and a bipod on the front, and a nasty looking a scope there. I like the red. Red is one of my favorite colors, so I definitely enjoy having a red scope. I've got another quote here. This is Tom Doyle again talking about another designer, Dave Stammel. He said, "Dave really wanted to push our new shader system with this weapon. We have as many different materials as possible on this asset: gunmetal, plasteel, wood, plastic, and ghillie netting. It showcases the rendering strength and diversity of our new engine." And it's pretty apparent when you look at this sniper rifle there. You know, a lot of different textures, a lot of different colors on there. It's a nice looking gun. Here we have another shot. Again, you know, you can see that nice wooden stock there, a little more detail. It's pretty cool. And of course, you know, the actual first person view with this gun. I'm curious to see how zooming in works in Destiny. You know, now that we've got iron sights, kind of like Call of Duty. Instead of just, you know, clicking the right thumbstick, we're going to be holding L to zoom in. So anyway, I guess moving on, I want to move to the Bungie mail sack. We actually got a mail sack this time. I think we missed the mail sack a week earlier, or something like that. Deej has been, you know, traveling. He went to Germany for Gamescom, and then he had to come back and take care of PAX. So we finally got a new mail sack. So let's talk about that, shall we? Let's do this. Alright, so mail sack time. Gonna do this pretty quickly. Last time I talked about the mail sack, I think I blathered on a little bit too long about, you know, the little funny bits and details that really don't apply or give you any news about Destiny. So I'm gonna try and do this a little faster pace, a little quicker. First up, we've got this question here, and I hope you can read that. It's from Spawn, you know, it's a good friend. He says, "So what's next for the fallen statue after Gamescom?" Deej's answer is, you know, his fate is at current unknown. And I have to say, I was actually kind of surprised to not see the fallen statue at PAX. I mean, Bungie really didn't have much of a presence there at all, so I guess it would have been kind of weird to just have the statue. But I was sort of hoping to get my picture with this old fallen captain. But anyway, Deej says the statue is on the loose in Europe now, and there's no telling where he'll go raiding for treasures. He says keep an eye out for him. What is it? If we were to hunt him, we'd watch large gatherings of would-be guardians. So that sounds like, you know, this statue is destined for another gaming conference of some sort. I don't have any guesses off the top of my head. I mean, the next really big gaming conference is TGS, I believe, but Deej seems to be implying that this fallen captain is sticking around in Europe instead of going to Tokyo. So who knows where it'll pop up next. Anyway, so the next question I wanted to talk about was from Father Franklin, who says, Urk said two things in an interview that I would love to have addressed. He says, one, players can combine supers to perform unique actions as a group. And two, Urk answered to the title of community manager, but I thought you were the community manager. So it sounds like Father Franklin is talking about some interview, but Deej doesn't seem to understand what interview he's talking about, and that he might just be making things up here. So he's not commenting on number one, but he does comment on number two, talking about community managers. And this is something I've sort of enjoyed talking with Deej and Urk at PAX and E3. You know, like what is the relationship there between those two guys? But Deej sort of sums it up nicely, kind of sidestepping it. But he says that Guardians are always more powerful when they have someone to back them up. He says, you know, that he's the community managers at Bungie are sort of a fire team. You know, they work together. So they're really both community managers. I know Deej has said before that he is the assistant to the community manager. But anyway, it's interesting that Deej actually answers this question, even though it's bringing up that rumor about combining supers to perform unique actions. I think that's if it is a rumor, it's a pretty plausible one, because one of the things Destiny often gets compared to in terms of the social drop-in drop-out matchmaking is Journey. If you've ever played Journey on PlayStation 3, it drops players into your game for co-op just on the fly. It's a gorgeous game. It's really fun. But the inherent danger of that is how do you get players to work together? And in Journey, you do sort of power up when you're close to each other. It sort of recharges your jumping ability and sort of your health as well. So that's one thing that encourages, even though you don't know these other people and you might not even be communicating with them, you don't know if they're going to have a mic or not. The game mechanics themselves are sort of pushing you to work together instead of against each other. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Destiny did the same thing. So this rumor definitely has some merit to it. It would make a lot of sense if the space magic you're using recharges faster when you're near teammates, or if you can buff other players. I think that's been hinted at before in a previous mail sack. Being able to power up the people around you or heal the people around you. So I'll be keeping an eye out for any sort of collaborative space magic in the future. But anyway, moving on. King in the North says, without using the word soon, and I noticed that he left off the trademark, without using the word soon, when can we expect forums on the Android version of the app? And Deej's answer is last week. So there was an update to the Android version of the Bungie mobile app. If you're on iPhone, you've had this update for a while. But what this did is this allows you to navigate the Bungie forums and post without having to switch to a web browser. You're doing it all within the Bungie app. So it's pretty nice. I use an Android phone myself, so I've been long awaiting this update ever since the iOS people got it, because I like browsing Bungie.net. I lurk more than I post, but this will definitely help me post a little bit more. And of course, Deej, being the wordsmith that he is, uses some awesome language. Think of your smartphone as your ghost. A guardian with the right gear will have a companion to aid them in their quest. What you are seeing now is just the beginning. And we definitely know that there's greater things in store for the Bungie.net app. Just from that very first Destiny video, hinting at quests and all sorts of integration with the game. But anyway, so if you haven't grabbed the update, be sure to boot up your phone and do that. All right, so let's see. I think we have 2 more questions from the mail sack. This one is Unisar64 says, you mentioned the podcast in the previous sack, implying that you would have an update when you were stateside. So I won't read the entire answer here, but basically the podcast is coming back, and Urk steps in with an editor's note to say that they've scored a room, pulled the equipment together, and it's going to happen. So that's pretty awesome. In fact, here are 2 tweets from Urk talking about the mail sack. He says, thinking about a permanent 3-man podcast crew with Urk, Deej, and Houselon. Who is a hilarious guy. One of my favorite people to hang out with at E3 and PAX. One of my favorite Bungie guys, aside from Urk and Deej, of course, and everybody else, was Houselon. He's a really funny guy. He can quote Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, on a moment's notice. He's a really hilarious guy. If you ever watched the Tiger Man video, he is the one that put on all the makeup and became Tiger Man. So if you ever get the chance to talk to Houselon, his name is John, you really should. He's a funny guy. So anyway, so the other quote I have from Urk here is, no idea what we're going to do for a podcast theme song. Any thoughts? So, if you've got ideas for a podcast theme, be sure to send a tweet to ERC, because obviously they can't use the podcast theme they had before with all the Halo sound effects in that. I know I myself made a podcast intro song like 4 years ago, but I'd be way too embarrassed to actually share that. If you go digging around on Ms. Raya Solutions, it's probably there, but don't do that. Anyway, moving on. Last question that I want to talk about from the mail sack. Dan the Boss Man says, do you have a spare Destiny trading card set from Gamescom? I would really like a pack. And cheers. Deej says they have a few left, but they're all in German. I know that there were some of these Destiny cards in English distributed, but that was in a really limited number. But anyway, Deej says that more of these cards are on the way. And the interesting thing about these cards is that on the back there is a code on each one for something. It's not quite clear what that code is for yet, but I think it's safe to assume that it'll be some sort of item, maybe just a cosmetic thing, but something for Destiny, presumably. I mean, I don't know what other things that they would be distributing codes for. So the codes are reusable, and they're out there on the net, so make sure you remember that once whatever site it is becomes active, that you can input the codes to. They're kind of useless right now. But anyway, so that covers the mail sack as far as the actual news, interesting details and stuff. Another article on the Bungie blog was Breaking In, and we have Annie Vandermeer Mitsoda. I'm probably pronouncing that terribly. Apologies, Annie, because I'm sure you're watching this. But anyway, Annie is a game designer on the public events team at Bungie. So, the public events are like in the E3 demo when that giant cruiser comes, swooping in from the sky and dropping off the Devil Walker spider tank. Annie had a hand in that, and I'm sure she had a hand in, it says she has a hand in all of the public events, sort of designing those. I've got a quick quote here from her. She says, when you're running around various locations in Destiny, be it the dusty plains of Mars or the vegetation-choked ruins of Venus, and you see a warning about an event nearby, I'm lucky enough to have had a hand in creating it. I help decide the structure of certain event archetypes, the cover available to the player, the flow of combat, the player objectives, and I take charge of their placement in certain locations. So that's probably a pretty cool job to have, like building all of these, public events, these really cool flashpoints that players are going to enjoy time and time again, especially considering the sort of random, non-repeating nature of these. It sounds like something players are going to be talking about a lot online, so that's got to be pretty neat to work on. So props to Annie. Anyway, so that covers the big Bungie blog items that I wanted to hit. So I've got a guest that you might be familiar with, and I don't want to keep him waiting any longer than I have to. If you've ever gone to Bungie.Org in the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years, you've no doubt come into contact with Claude Errera, also known as, he used to be known as Louis Wu in the Halo days. Now he's reclaimed his actual name and returned to us as Claude. He is widely considered to be the godfather of the Halo community. I'm probably making him turn beet red right now. But anyway, so please welcome to the show. Let me pull up Skype. Where is Skype? I'm so unprofessional here. Alright. Please help me welcome to the show, Claude Errera. Let me see if this will work.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. Claude!
Hey!
How's it going?
It's going. It's going. I'm happy I was able to mute that before it got too embarrassing in order to take the call. So
Is this the first video chat podcast type thing you've ever done?
I've done a few podcasts, but they've all been audio. This is the first video one, yeah.
Okay. So,
So,
but see, people already recognize you from the Halo 2 DVD, right?
of course, you have to tell that story now.
Which one? There's multiple times. So at I think it was New York Comic Con, I was walking around with Claude, and I think Mig might have been with us as well. And we had some random person walk up, and I'm like, "Are you on the Halo 2 DVD?" And of course, Claude had to answer yes and tell them all about Halo.Bungie.Org. Um,
Oh, I was actually thinking of the at PAX. I walked up to Hekfu and a bunch of people from the Tiny Gaff chat that I'd never met.
yeah.
Hekfu looked at me and said, "Aren't you on that Halo 2 DVD?" And I basically chewed him out for being an ass. And literally 5 seconds later, somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Aren't you on that Halo 2 DVD?" And I said, "Did he just put you up to this?" And Heck was like, "I had nothing to do with it. It wasn't me."
That's
So
funny.
it was pretty entertaining.
That's cool. Speaking of entertaining, we had a hell of a week or so there, right? PAX.
I am still recovering.
I know, me too. Well, I'm actually surprised I was able to get the show together and do this. Don't get too close to your monitors because I'm still kind of sick. I've stayed home from work today, and I went home early yesterday. Just my head felt like it was going to explode. Um, Thankfully, I seem to be on the tail end of it. But the
I,
PAX
I
Pox,
seem
it was kind
I
of
seem to
late.
have avoided the pox, so I shouldn't say that because I'll get it now. But
Yeah, no, I'm sending it to you through Skype. It starts out as a computer virus, but it'll spread.
there you go. If
But
it
no,
actually happens, you're in trouble.
yeah, you can blame me. I don't know. I'm a flood carrier form. But no, PAX was a lot of fun. I think this year um, rises above the rest for me. I mean, Halo Fest was a lot of fun, but I think each successive year of PAX, I know more people, and it feels more like a family reunion to
Yep.
me, which is
Yeah, it was all this year. It was all about the people. I mean, it's often been mostly about the people,
hmm.
but even the games I went to see, I failed miserably at seeing them. So, it was about the people.
Same here. Like, I think the longest line I waited in was um, me and Tashi waited in line for Battlefield 4, but that was only because there was nobody else sort of around at that time, so it was nothing else we could do. When we found out the Titanfall line was going to be 2 hours, we said no way. um, so yeah, so it was mostly just short lines and then running around trying to hang out with people. It's
Exactly.
burning the
I
midnight oil quite a few times.
I cheated on Titanfall.
Yeah.
I acted as Kermit's bag carrier,
Oh, nice.
which got me in like without waiting, which was really nice, except that I couldn't play it because I am, I guess, too old to switch back to
Huh.
default controls.
Yeah.
So I tried for 2 or 3 minutes and couldn't shoot, couldn't look where I was supposed to be looking. Finally, just put the controller down and watched Kermit.
That's funny. But we had like I said, there were like a lot of meetups. It was like Wednesday night we went to Wing Dome, and
Yep.
probably made the poor wait staff there absolutely hate the Halo community or Bungie community or whatever you want to call it these days.
I
Um,
think they did pretty well tip wise. So you're right. We ran them around a lot, but I think it was okay in the end.
uh, and then again, it was just every night we seemed like we had some sort of large gathering to go through. And I wish I had taken more pictures than I did, but I was always just running around trying to enjoy the moment. Actually talking to people instead of sticking a camera in their face.
That is absolutely the way you should be enjoying those moments. So you did good.
uh, but Destiny wasn't at PAX in any formal capacity, but we did get to go and visit Bungie. which was pretty cool. So on, I guess it was Tuesday, I had sort of I had emailed Deej, or I was hanging out with Deej earlier, and I was kind of like, "Hey, what are you doing for lunch on Tuesday?" And then he said, "You should come by the studio." So it was me, Claude, and Grim Brother One, who went, and we had lunch with Deej and Urk and House Salon and
Naya.
Naya. That was it. Naya. Um,
Naya, who I'm positive I've seen in something, but I couldn't find.
yeah, I didn't recognize her from any Vidocs, but I'll have to go rewatch.
I don't bother. I I watched every one frame by frame looking for her because I was positive I'd seen her,
that's
but it turns out I hadn't.
that's funny. But so anyway, so we got to have lunch with this wonderful group of people who decided to leave the walk outside of the studio and come hang out with us for a little bit. But then we actually got to go in and check out the place. And the first place we went to was, of course, the front desk with Jerome for the signing of NDAs. So if I watch what I say here, it's because I've got this threat that will come all the way from Seattle and absolutely squash me with a gravity hammer. No, Jerome is a super friendly person, but we did as soon as we walked in the door, we signed NDAs. I think you probably already had one on file, right?
I did.
Yeah, that was my first time signing an NDA at Bungie, which was pretty cool. I thought. I don't know. But Deej took us over to the motion capture room, where we got to hang out for a while with Troy McFarlane, who is a really friendly guy, really really cool. He probably talked to us for what, like half an hour at least.
At least, yeah. I was totally not expecting that sort of in-depth look at how he does his job
Yeah.
and how, he how he makes things that will end up looking really cool out of junk. Which is
That,
really neat.
I mean, that's a good way to put it, though. He had this really cool assault rifle that he'd built out of welding metal together, and the handle on the assault rifle was a Nintendo Zapper painted black, because he said that he could have tried building one, but it was so much easier to go find this $3 Zapper at a yard sale somewhere and paint it, and then he had actual trigger on it, but it had all the little reflective dots on it, and as you moved it around over in the computer monitor in the corner, you could see this really crude, blocky model of an assault rifle floating in the air, moving around however you held it, which was really cool. And then Troy had all this other stuff that he'd built. These awesome adjustable stairs that he could use to emulate whatever environment the artists had built. What else did he have? They had a golf club with some of the little motion tracking dots on it, so you could swing the golf club and watch in the corner, and then make
He had
Troy really nervous when you're swinging a golf club next to these really expensive cameras.
he had George's gun made out of a bunch of metal and a sledgehammer head for
Yeah,
weight.
it was almost like a weed whacker like arm on it.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty much.
uh,
And a home gym that was used for that pelican scene where
mm,
Carter's standing or somebody's standing in the doorway.
yeah, the
So
Falcon. That was really cool. That was really neat. Hanging around in there and playing with that stuff. We never actually put any of the motion capture suits on, but they did show us these little small black spandex pants and shirt that they're covered in like this Velcro material, and you can stick all the dots to them. And it seems like it'd be a real pain to have to put that on and take that off. Um,
I was really happy we didn't try.
yeah, yeah, me too. I was happy just to try the helmet they had that had the dots on it, and of course the big metal bar where they can put a camera on and record the facial features of their actors. That was pretty cool. I'm glad that we got to hang around in there and play around. It was a lot of fun. It's like this giant toy box of a room for video game
Exactly.
nerds.
And it just keeps getting, when they first moved into the building, I remember seeing it. It was just this big empty room,
Mm,
and they didn't. I don't even know if the cameras were all set up. It was just sort of, there was a framework, but man, they just keep adding stuff to it, and it just keeps getting more and more high tech, and they're going towards Avatar.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of Destiny. I mean, we've seen a little bit of Destiny's cutscenes, I guess, in the trailers, but I'm really interested in seeing like the finished product and just what all these Bungie animators can do. Because I mean, they've got guys from like Pixar now that they've stolen from Pixar.
That's right.
Uh, at least one guy. Um, but that was a lot of fun hanging around there. We spent a lot of time in the motion capture room, and then Deej sort of took us on this quick walking tour of the building. I mean, we didn't see every nook and cranny, but we definitely got a nice workout
We
going
got
going.
behind the scenes to places that most people aren't allowed near.
Yeah, probably. We walked down. Let's see. We walked down to where the testers work.
Yep.
A big old testing lab down there, and there were guys hard at work, running the game, and we got to see like little, like glimpses of the game there, but we certainly didn't pull out our cell phones and start taking pictures. And
Well, you and I didn't. Grim did maybe a little bit.
Grim, I'm surprised he didn't have like Google Glass or something like implanted in his eyes, so he can just like keep taking pictures or something.
Yes.
Um, but let's see what else. We checked out the Foley room that has all kinds of junk outside the door that they use to record the different sound effects. There was an empty shell casing that Deej dropped so that you can hear the little tinkle of metal on floor.
They didn't let us in, but they did show us the door that separates the magnetically isolated room from the rest of the studio.
Yeah, that seemed like some pretty crazy expensive, like just just building the room. I guess because they don't want interference for the recording equipment.
Right.
That was
You don't want to feel buses driving by outside, so.
Yeah. So that was cool. Let's see. We walked past some rooms that looked like they had a bunch of computers crunching numbers in them. And then probably the highlight for me was oh no, wait, skipping. I'll pause on that. We walked into the theater, the Bungie theater, to see a video Deej showed us it's very similar to the community thank you video that came out last week. It was kind of an early cut of that they showed to Activision people or anybody new to Destiny, sort of a really broad overview of the game, and it was cool seeing. We saw some footage in there that hadn't been seen yet. A lot of that was included in this community thank you video, but it was neat for me just being in that theater because that's one of the staples of the Bungie Vidocs of late is guys sitting in that theater, talking about the future of Bungie.
Right.
So it was kind of cool being in there. That was my first time in there. I'm sure you've been in there before, right?
That's one of the public areas. So that's if you come to Bungie and you're not, mostly you don't get let upstairs or in the back, and the theater is one of the places they let you into.
It's pretty neat. Really cool lighting in there.
Yeah.
But speaking of one of the places they don't normally take you, we got to go upstairs.
That's
To
definitely one of the places.
the actual heart of Bungie. And Deej sort of took us on a walking tour of the place. We walked by the room where Marty and Mike were hard at work on the Destiny soundtrack or some sound aspect of the game. We could see them through the glass door, but Deej says we don't knock on that door. We don't disturb them. In fact, he was surprised that the blinds weren't drawn and there wasn't a picture of a skull on the door telling people to knock and get fired or something like that. um, but we walked through there. We walked. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the layout of Bungie, but it's as far as like where most people work. It's just this huge like giant L-shaped room with no real walls. I mean, there's like low cubicle, not even cubicle walls. It's just desks everywhere. But above that, they have a bunch of conference rooms overlooking it with glass windows, just sort of let you like look out and peer over
It's
the
not even
entire
really
dev
glass
floor.
windows, it's glass walls. They're floor to
Yeah,
ceiling.
yeah, it's pretty serious stuff. Deej always likes to compare it to like the death or a star destroyer like command room. You know, you
Yeah.
stand up there and plot the fate of the universe. It was pretty cool. We're standing in this glass walled conference room above the dev floor, and Deej is like telling us all these really cool stories. And me and Grim Brother One are standing next to each other, and we keep elbowing each other, like, "Oh, look down there! It's like, look at what that guy's working on. Like, that guy's actually playing the game. It's like, it's really hard to see, but it looks cool from up here."
I was really hoping he was going to quiz us later and you guys were going to fail. Guess you weren't listening.
But it was pretty neat. We walked past the conference room, and Lars Bakken was in there waving at us. Hey guys! And I was like, wow, really wish I could like come in and just sit into the conference room and just listen to whatever it was they were talking about. But that might be a little bit much for a tour.
Just poke your head in. Just
Yeah,
just wanted to hear how it's going.
yeah, really. Um, and then yeah, and we just sort of we never really walked through like all the desks because we didn't want to I guess disturb them, or I guess Deej didn't want us to just disturb them. I would have had no problem just walking around like looking at every desk. But we sort of hung out in the sort of open area there where they have team meetings, and ran into a lot of Bungie people um, that we had met earlier at PAX at a couple community gatherings, and it was a lot of fun. Luke Timmons walked by and was harassing us for a little bit. Dan Miller walked up at one point and said, "Hey, do you guys want to see this thing?" And then there's like, Deej gave us like the head, gave him the head shake. It was like they're not cleared for that. So I was like, oh, but whatever, next time, you know.
He wasn't going to show you anything. He was just messing with you.
Let's see, Lorraine walked up, Lorraine McLeese, which uh,
She,
I enjoyed because I was like, "Hey, I'm Duncan," and she goes, "NCSU," and I was like, "Yes, you know me, you know who I am."
oh, jeez.
So I won't share the rest of that story,
I was wondering if you were going to or not, but just
but
as well.
but it was really cool meeting Lorraine for the first time.
Cool
And then
fact about Lorraine I learned on this one. The sound of the sparrow is Lorraine's electric bike, which she brought into the lab once.
oh yeah,
Electric motorcycle, yeah.
that's pretty cool. I missed most of that story. I was busy talking to Elliot Gray or John
Oh
Smog.
man, you wasted your time with him.
Yeah, really. But
Elliot had some pretty cool stories to tell.
yeah, they did. That's one thing I took away from the whole trip to PAX was all of these Bungie guys had really great stories, and they were all super friendly. It was my first time meeting a lot of them. I've really only met a handful of Bungie people before E3. I met plenty at E3. But I was really surprised. I don't know. I guess I had a lot of preconceived notions about certain personalities. Like I hate saying it, but like Luke Timmons. Like for some reason, I always thought he was kind of cocky or something. I think it was one of the Reach documentaries where he's talking about Arena and he's talking about how good he is at Halo. Like, oh, you just met Roger Clemens. And
I remember
I
that.
always thought, he seemed like a nice guy, but maybe a little cocky. But no, he was wonderful to talk to, super friendly. He had a ton of awesome stories to tell. Who else? I think it was there was a Bungie party at Hard Rock Cafe, and I got to talk to Sage for a while. And Sage, coming from my Halo Gaff background, Sage had sort of become like the scapegoat for all of Halo Reach's problems. I say problems, the scapegoat for all of the issues Halo Gaff had with Reach. um,
Thank you for putting it that way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's, one person's problems is another person's, innovation.
Right.
Uh, but he had sort of become this caricature that Halo Gaff would trot out as, this Halo Reach is this guy's fault. And I was expecting Sage to be sort of defensive and maybe dismissive when I asked him, like, hey, if you could change one thing about Halo Reach, what would you change? And the other question I asked him was Halo Reach a test bed for Destiny? Now, I'm not gonna. I hate bringing these up because I'm not actually gonna share what he said
Oh,
because
come
I
on.
don't like doing that. I don't like breaking. It was a safe environment. It was a
All right.
trusting place, and he actually
Right.
talked very candidly about about how Reach turned out and what he wanted to be different and what he was happy with. And he was super friendly, and I was expecting him, as soon as I asked those questions, I was expecting him to just go, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it," or just give me some polite, short answer. But we actually talked for quite a while. And funny thing was, we were a couple days later on the PAX show floor. I was waiting in line to try out Enemy Starfighter, which is this great Oculus Rift indie game. I seriously want to write an article about how awesome this game was. But anyway, it's made by a former Bungie guy, so that there were a couple Bungie guys waiting in line to try it as well, hanging around. And Sage was there talking with some of his Bungie friends about, oh, we can't go out and party this weekend too much because there are all these PAX people around. We can't spill the beans on Destiny. And Sage goes and points to me and goes, "Yeah, I probably told this guy too much about Halo Reach the other night." But so I did, of course, the my lips are sealed movement, and he thought
Right. And
he
then you go and tell your entire audience how like you heard all this stuff, but no, you're not going to share it.
I don't know, but the point I was getting at was that all of these Bungie guys seemed really, guys and gals, seemed really happy to meet the community people, and tell them neat stories about their background in game development, neat stories about Halo, neat stories about other companies they've worked at, and they are very aware of the community, not just DBO, but just
Really?
everybody on Twitter, everybody watching their videos, commenting, making cosplay. Um, so it was very very cool weekend for me, just from that perspective of knowing, like, hey, they're out there, they're listening, they know we're out here too. So
It has struck me, I don't know how many times when I've interacted with Bungie people and watched this enthusiasm you're talking about. And I keep, so when I'm not around them, I sort of put them in the same class as, I don't know, like actors or something. They're like
yeah.
stars, right? They're sort of the center of this world that we dote on. And so when I meet them, I expect them to act that way. I expect
Mm.
them to be sort of, weary of the fan interaction and just wanting a little space for themselves. But they're almost never like that. I can't think of any Bungie employees that I've met that really feel, like we're an imposition on them. They
Yeah.
love the fact that they're building something they really, really are jazzed about, and they love to share that. And they never get to, right? They're under tighter NDAs than you
Yeah,
are.
pretty much.
So I think it's really neat to sort of to 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 come to something like PAX and interact with these people, because you realize, except for the fact that they're working on it and you're a fan of it,
Mm.
we're all the same, right? We're all excited about it, and we can't wait till it's out in the public and we can all play it together.
Yeah,
So I think that's kind of neat.
it's pretty cool. It's that's really cool. It'll be neat when the game is out, because it seems like there's that period right after the game comes out that they can interact as much as they want to, and play this new game they've built with us until they go dark for the
The
next
next
game,
piece.
whatever it might
Well,
be.
the next game's going to be Destiny again, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Destiny for the next 10 years. So I don't know how dark it's going to be going forward from here. I think there's going to be a continuous stream of content, and they'll keep the details of whatever the next chapter is quiet, but I don't think we'll get this. So this last dark period, that's the
Mhm.
longest Bungie's ever been dark since they were created, and I don't think any of them liked it.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it'll happen again.
Yeah, I can sort of understand it though. They're building this brand new franchise, and they don't want to spoil it a little too early. The it seems like there's a very definite marketing plan of reveals and stuff,
Yeah,
and I'm sure it's gonna ramp up. It'll be cool to see that moving forward. So
it's true. I sometimes I wish that they were more open with the marketing they are doing. That when they create something cool, that it makes its way out to the public
mm.
instead of being kept for studio bigwigs or whoever Activision people they have to sell to or whatever it is. But I understand they have a roadmap and they know how they want to market this and they know how they want to reveal stuff going forward and it really is sort of planned out like way in advance, probably all the way to launch at this point. So as much as I'd love to see more stuff coming out, I think uh, they've shown in the past that the marketing has actually worked pretty well.
Mm.
And I guess I just have to sit back and trust it and hope that that I get what I need when I need
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'm trying to think of like what the next big event is going to be relative to PAX, like that I'll attend, because I don't think I'm going to go to New York Comic Con this year. I'm probably
Well,
going to go to PAX East, but I mean that's 6 months away. Um,
yeah, I don't know that there's much more. There's Tokyo Game Shows
yeah,
in there somewhere, and that big what's that big Microsoft one? XCOM? No, what's it called?
XCOM. Um,
You know what I'm thinking of.
I'm not sure. I know the one you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it. Um, but anyway, yeah.
I'm getting made fun of for a bad choice of guesses there. That's all right.
Oh well.
Um, anyway, there aren't very many options. There aren't very many things left. You're right. New York Comic Con and PAX East are probably the two big U.S. ones coming up,
Yeah.
and those are like you said, those are close to 6 months apart.
Yeah.
So
PAX East is going to be a long haul for you this time.
it really is. I know. I may or may not make it.
I know. It
It's
used
it's
to be
hard
pretty
to.
much given, right? Now you're all the way up in Seattle.
I know.
the
it's
the
it's
the
hard to
flight to
it's hard to
PAX Prime is a
justify
lot
that
shorter.
because I made it all the way to PAX Prime every year, even though I was 3,000 miles away.
That's
So
true.
it's sort of a like, how do I justify not going to PAX East?
I don't know.
See.
We'll have to see how that goes. But anyway, I think that about covers. Well, that doesn't cover hardly any of it. I mean, seriously, I could probably sit here and talk about PAX for hours and hours. We were talking about PAX for hours and hours while we were at PAX.
That's it. But
But
we were drinking pretty heavily during that time, so
yeah, a couple times. but but I guess in the interest of not boring people with all of our Cards Against Humanity
oh,
stories and various
please.
other anecdotes.
That's it.
We should probably move on. But anyway, so I wanted to thank you for taking the time to come on to dboTV. I know I gave you kind of short notice earlier today. I was sitting in bed sick, and I was like, I should probably email somebody to see if they could come down.
I don't have enough content to finish the episode.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've got
Oh
about
man.
15 minutes, and then I just need some sort of filler.
Well, I'm happy to have been your filler, so
But
glad it worked out.
definitely won't be the last time you're on here, I'm sure.
I don't know.
Just one
So,
appearance a
so
year, is that it?
one thing I'm learning is that this office gets tremendously hot when the fan goes off. And if I'm going to be sitting here next to a mic, there's no way I can leave the fan on. So
You're telling
your
me I've got all
timing is
these like
something up.
lights for my green screen going on here. It gets kind of hot. I don't know why I'm still wearing a coat. I need to get out of the habit of doing this. I guess I thought it made me look professional or something with the
And,
coat and the mug
and
and the whole thing.
and the pipe, wasn't there a pipe the first week?
I never had a pipe, but that's a really good idea. I should probably do that. I need a pipe that has the DBO logo on it though.
That's
Gotta have the branding.
absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for having me,
But yeah,
and good luck with the rest of the show.
yeah, I'm really not sure how much more I've got, so thanks. But all
Yeah.
right, I'll see you later,
Okay.
Claude.
All right. Take care.
All right, take care. All right, there we go. Well, that was always fun. It's always good chatting with a good friend like Claude. I really haven't been paying attention to the chat, so I hope that you guys have been behaving there. I know I left a couple moderators to keep things civil. But anyway, so I guess I've got just a couple more things to run through. I had a couple images from PAX that I wanted to show. This is us at Wingdome. Like I said, we had a pretty large group, and I'm surprised we didn't get kicked out, but we left a pretty good tip. There were a number of cosplayers at PAX. Here's somebody I ran into at a Bungie party. This guy had this really cool sniper rifle and really awesome mask, very well done. I also ran into a warlock on the PAX floor. This guy, his costume really looked like he had made it himself. Like very, very handmade, very cool look to it. And then on the last day of PAX, I know I've been talking about going to Bungie, but we also went out to Kirkland and visited 343. This is a group pic taken in their lobby. Jessica Shea, aka BS Angel, invited a bunch of people out there, and we got coffee at Starbucks, and then sort of hung out in the lobby for a while. We didn't actually get to go into where they're building the next Halo game, but the lobby was really cool. They had a lot of neat things in the display case there, and of course it's always fun hanging out with all of our friends. It's like I said, PAX has become a family reunion of sorts. So it's great, hanging out with these people. We're always trying to milk it to the last drop and hang out every day that we can before everybody has to fly home. But anyway, so a couple other news items that I wanted to hit. There was this really cool piece of fan art done by Matty Artist. I think his real name is Matt Armitage. But he had this pretty neat image of, it looks like it's from the Black Garden on Venus, even though there seems to be some sort of traveler shape in the background. And of course you see a hunter in the front and spider tank in the background. This is a pretty cool image. Another artist I wanted to talk about, somebody goes by the name of Leviathan. Levi does a lot of artwork for DBO, and if you ever loitered around HBO, Halo.Bungie.Org, you definitely know who Leviathan is. He did this really awesome webcomic called Fistful of Arrows, and he's been an icon in the Halo fan art community, and now he's making waves in the Destiny fan art community. But Levi really sort of helped out a lot last weekend when I was gone at PAX. Me and Claude were both busy at PAX. So was Grim Brother. So the DBO admin team was sort of stretched thin. Levi really stepped up and posted a lot of stuff to the front page. I wanted to thank Levi. But he made this really cool banner for Speculation Saturday. So if you're not familiar, this is I think this is the third week that it's been done. Forum member Ragashingo has been posting these really cool threads, gathering all kinds of Destiny facts and quotes, and collecting them, and then posting a lot of really informed speculation, and then of course like rampant rumors. And there've been a lot of really fun threads. So definitely check those out. If you go to the DBO front page, you can just search for speculation, and or Saturday. Search for Saturday, and the news post will come up. But anyway, so Levi made this really cool banner, and since we were all so busy, there wasn't always Destiny news Levi knew about to post to the front page. So he started making up his own Destiny news. in the form of some really cool fan art. Although you could easily write some fiction surrounding this art. We've got this neat falling captain fighting two guardians here, and then he also made this really cool guardian. I guess that's a warlock, sort of collecting some sort of space magic there. But anyway, so props to Levi for doing all that stuff. One last artist I wanted to talk about was Javelin. So Bungie has done a community member focus on Javelin. He's done some really cool renders of like hunters and other helmets and stuff from Destiny before. But what Javelin has done this time is he took this this piece of concept art here that was posted back during GDC, and he turned it into an actual render in the, I believe it's in the Unreal Engine. So, you know, going back and forth, you can kind of see how he went and took this 2D image and made it 3D. And if you go to Javelin's website, you can get a couple different shots of this from different angles. But it's just really cool how, you know, somebody can just take this piece of concept art and build something out of it. I don't know if Javelin's trying to get a job in the industry, but this definitely seems to be a good way to do it if he's not. Pretty cool stuff. One last thing I wanted to talk about was cosplay. There were a number of cosplayers there at PAX. I ran into quite a few, like 4 or 5. But one that I wanted to highlight was this hunter done by Nicole King. And this was the first cosplayer I ran into at PAX. I was standing around talking to a couple friends, and I see this person walk by, like with this cloak and cape kind of thing on, and I was like, that looks kind of familiar, and I had to like run her down and go, hey, is this from Destiny? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, I've run this fan site, you know, can I take your picture? Would it be weird? But she was, you know, she was super friendly, really cool. And you can see here like how she sort of built this costume just from that one piece of art there. Did a pretty good job of it, I think so. So anyway, so every week when I do dboTV, I always do a tip of the hat. So it's time for this week's tip of the hat. Now I don't have a special banner just for this hat, so I'm just going to reuse the banner my friend made for me for last episode when I had a sombrero. So it doesn't really fit, but whatever. Anyway, this week's tip of the hat goes to 4 different people, and the theme here is people who gave me stuff at PAX. Which seems sort of self-serving, but what I'm trying to highlight here is people that built things for the community, because it wasn't just me they were giving stuff to. So anyway, so the first person I want to talk about is Craig Hardgrove. I believe on our forums he's known as Roland. But Craig is one of the guys from the Guardians of Destiny, the guys that do Guardian Radio every week for 27 weeks running now. Craig came to the DBO meetup on Saturday night at PAX, and he gave me this really cool Hot Wheels Rover. So this is of course because Craig works for NASA on the Curiosity rover. So it was a pretty neat gift from him, and he also gave me this sweet rover crossing sticker. So tip of the hat to Craig for the free stuff. I wasn't the only person to get one of these. He had a bunch that he was giving out to different community members, and I believe that the passcode was Strauss. So anybody that walked up to him and said Strauss was getting a free Curiosity miniature rover. So tip of the hat to you, Craig. Let's see, who else? Next tip of the hat goes to Molten Sloa. And I know he wasn't alone in putting this together, but I think Molten Sloa was the primary person in charge of this. And what he did was, if you're familiar with the game Cards Against Humanity, Molten Sloa sort of pulled the community and came up with, hold on, I'll show you. It's Bungie.Org against humanity. So if you've never played Cards Against Humanity, it's a lot like Apples to Apples, but it's sort of not kid-friendly. I guess is the best way to put it. But as far as I can tell, most of these cards are kid-friendly. They just might not know what you're talking about, because they're all Bungie.org related. They're all about Halo or Halo community members, HBO community members. This one says Claude Errera. So it's a really fun game. I know a lot of people enjoyed playing it at the DBO meetup. There was a pretty big game going on for quite a while, and lots of laughter. I sat in on it for a little bit. But anyway, so a tip of the hat to Molten Sloa for making these Bungie.org Against Humanity cards. He had like huge stacks of them he was giving out to a ton of people, and I know it had to be a lot of work to put these together because there are a lot of cards here, and each one seems to have been like individually cut out. So tip of the hat to you. And then the last tip of the hat goes to Laird and TD Spiral. Laird organized this sort of casual get-together at Dick's Drive-In in Seattle for burgers, and he was giving out various posters, and he had 3 Destiny-related ones, and these were drawn by TD Spiral, and then Laird sort of organized, printing them out and distributing them. But anyway, so here's the first one. This one is probably my favorite. It's Destroy This Mad Brute. And it is a fallen captain there, and you can see, the Traveler in the background, sort of in the theme of some, like World War II propaganda posters. But I want to get this like framed and put it up on my wall, my space wall back here. But anyway, so TD Spiral, made some fantastic artwork. Here's the other one that I have, and it is This Is Your Enemy, Report Vex Activity, which is pretty cool. There was a third Destiny-related one that I didn't manage to snag, but I do have the image for it somewhere, so I might just print one out myself. But anyway, tip of the hat to Laird, and then another tip of the hat to TD Spiral for making this fantastic art and spreading the joy. That was the theme of this series of tip of the hat hat tips. Was community members that have a really cool idea and are building something or giving something to other community members, sort of spreading the love. So anyway, so thanks a lot to all you guys. Anyway, so that about wraps up the show. I've realized that I haven't given anything away. So what I have here is a code for, if you have an iPad, this is for a free copy of Fairway Solitaire on iPad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type it into the chat. And I don't know, I have absolutely no idea how you redeem this code. I think you do it in iTunes or on the iTunes website. So anyway, so I'm going to type it into the chat so that all the people who watch this show live, so my next one, 4 F6 NHF6. Alright. Pretty sure that's the right code. Hopefully I didn't add any typos in there. But anyway, so that's in the chat. Thank you guys for watching live. Like I said, this is for a free copy of Fairway Solitaire. This is one of the little code things they gave away at PAX in the swag bags. I've got more codes, but in the interest of keeping the show running along, I'm going to save those for next week and try and do a little better setup on distributing them. But so what I have to give away next week is, it looks like these are 2 skins for League of Legends, which is this really small game nobody's ever heard of. So yeah, I've got 2 League of Legends codes to give away next week. And then this is a closed beta for a MOBA called Dawngate. So I have a code for that as well. And I'll give that away next week. So if you're interested in MOBAs, specifically Dawngate and League of Legends, tune in next week or watch the YouTube archive. Maybe it'll be on there. I don't know. But anyway, so wrap things up. As always, you can jump on to Destiny.Bungie.Org/forum. I would love your feedback. It really does help me sort of tweak the show, try and improve the show. Find the thread, with dboTV in the title. If you don't see one, make a thread. We really don't mind having extra threads on the forum. I've really that's one thing I wanted to encourage moving forward, is I want people to make more threads. So anyway, so log on to the forum, give me some feedback. I would really appreciate that. If you're watching this on Twitch, the archive goes up on YouTube at our YouTube channel, which is Destiny.Bungie.Org. If you're watching this on YouTube, you should also subscribe to our Twitch channel so that you can watch it live, which is twitch.tv/Destiny.Bungie.Org. And while we're on the subject of, social media and all that, we also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Destiny.Bungie.Org. Big surprises there. The Facebook page automatically feeds from the front news feed. Feeds from the front news feed. That's terrible diction. So if you like getting your news on Facebook, like us on there, and you'll get Facebook news, whatever. And then, of course, whoa, okay, that's a little too much. There we go. Twitter accounts. The official DBO Twitter account is @DBOTweets. Follow that for all the DBO news and community interaction. And if you want to follow me, my personal account is NCSU Duncan, which is surprising, I'm sure. As always, there we go. My name is NCSU Duncan. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope that this episode was entertaining. Seemed to have run a little bit long. Trying to shoot for less than an hour, but I failed this time. But anyway, thanks for watching, and oh, that's not. There we go. Credit sequence. Yep. Bye, folks.